Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hey, it's Storyworthy. Today on the show, author Marian Keyes talks about the most humiliating night of her life.
And the invitation said, come as a Joan. And they listed several Joans, like Joan Crawford, Joan Rivers, Joan of Arc. I went like really hardcore. Like I had a chainmail thing for my head. I had thigh boots. I had like a tunic. Then I had an over tunic, a white one with a red cross on it. We pull up at the place and the taxi driver says, you're here. So I get out and there's all these paparazzi and none of them were dressed as anything other than themselves.
Today on the show, best-selling author Marian Keyes talks about the most humiliating night of her life. Stay close.
Hey, it's Marian Keyes, and you're listening to Storyworthy.
Welcome to Storyworthy. My name is Christine Blackburn, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Whether you're a longtime fan of the show or a new listener, welcome to Storyworthy. Hope you guys enjoyed the show last week with filmmaker Linda Palmer. This was a great story about making a movie and all the things that went wrong. If you are a filmmaker or you know somebody who's a filmmaker, you got to suggest this episode for them. Linda Palmer talking about the making of the movie Halloween Party. Whether you're a filmmaker or not, it's a really entertaining episode, you guys. Go back, listen to Linda Palmer on Storyworthy. But not today. Today I'm re-airing a story from author Marian Keyes. Marian Keyes is a best-selling author. For 20 years, she's been writing funny, internationally best-selling fiction about women and the modern world. If you don't know who Marian Keyes is, maybe you haven't been reading. But anyway, she's a wonderful woman, and she was on the show a couple years ago, so I want to bring back her story right now. On today's show, she talks about going to a party, and the theme of the party was come as a Joan, right? Like Joan of Arc or Joan of, different Joans. And that's what she did. But then she got to the party and, well, you'll see what happened. Anyway, super funny Marian Keyes. She's on the show right now. We're going to get to her story in just a second, but before we do, I wanted to remind you guys that you can join my mailing list at storyworthypodcast.com. And you can also buy tickets now for Story Smash, the storytelling game show, on Saturday, November 25th here in Los Angeles. I just got a fabulous review on Story Smash, and I'm so excited about it. It's from Discover Hollywood magazine, and I've got the article, plastered on all the social media, obviously. And you can also see the article at storysmashshow.com, storyworthypodcast.com, and christineblackburn.com. How about that? I make it convenient for you. And if that weren't enough, I also have My Life in 3 Songs, and it's going strong. On My Life in 3 Songs, I talk to comedians about the 3 songs in their life that have impacted them. Not necessarily their favorite songs, but songs that paint a picture of who they are and where the comedian grew up. The show is doing very well. I recently had on Wendy Liebman, and I'd sure appreciate if you guys would check it out. My Life in 3 Songs. It's exclusively on Spotify because we listen to music and we use the Spotify catalog. And you can also check out mylifein3songs.com. Speaking of websites, you guys have got to check out mariankeyes.com. Like I said, she is just a powerhouse. She's a best-selling author, and she's got a hilarious story to share with us today. Wherever you are, you guys, put your hands together for the very talented Marian Keyes.
Thank you. Okay, so I've been writing novels for a long time. Also done occasional pieces of kind of lifestyle journalism. And the publication that I wanted to write for more than anything was the style supplement of the Sunday Times newspaper. I mean, the Times of London, you'd probably call it. And I suddenly got some sort of in with them, and they commissioned a couple of pieces from me, and they were sort of touchy-feely, lifestyle-y things. I mean, I'm not a hard news kind of a person. But I was desperate to befriend them because I loved the magazine, and I wanted to get more work from them, because then they might send me to, I don't know, some very expensive spa to write about a week there or something lovely like that. Then I got an invitation came via an email inviting me to their Christmas party. And I live in London. I live in Dublin, and this was in London. And the invitation said, come as a Joan, Joan. And they listed several Joans, like Joan Crawford, Joan Rivers, Joan Smalls, Joan of Arc,
Jett.
Joan Jett. Yes. And I took a look at all these Joans, and I thought, well, the only Joan I could possibly try would be Joan of Arc, because, I get the look. I mean, there's no way I could be Joan Rivers. I have the wrong colour hair and all of that. So I said yes, and I mean, I was so excited to be invited. And my husband said, could he come? And I said no. I said, I'm very sorry, but I will be bonding with my work people. And I had some vision of we'd be in sort of an office room, and there would be like these plastic glasses of like lukewarm white wine on the table, and maybe some crisps in a bowl, and it would all be, there'd be maybe like 14 of us, like all kind of, milling around the table. So I thought, okay, fair enough, this is good. So I booked a flight to London. I booked a hotel in London. Then I went online and I ordered several versions of Joan of Arc outfits, because A, I can never do anything by halves. B, I was afraid that the sword from one wouldn't suit the dress with the other. And I went really hardcore. Like I had a kind of a chainmail thing for my head. I had thigh boots. I had like a tunic. Then I had an over tunic, a white one with a red cross in it. Then I ordered this enormous sword made of latex. And so my husband said he'd come with me to London, but he wouldn't come to the party. And I said, this is fine, you can come, you can be in the background, but you can't bother me in any way. And he said, okay. So I was only bringing hand luggage to London, and I was worried about getting the sword through the metal detector. Now, the sword was about 4 foot long. And my husband said, there's no way, they're not going to, you won't be let on the plane. I said, no. I said, I'll tell them the story. I'll tell them how excited I am, how I'm so looking forward to meeting the editor of the people. He said, it's not going to happen. Anyway, it didn't happen. They took the sword from me and was carried off to the room of doom, where they go with your bottles of water and your mascara and all the things that you have to say goodbye to. And I said, fine, doesn't matter. Our hotel is near Hamleys. Hamleys is a big toy store in London. I said, I'll just get myself another sword. It's fine, you people, it doesn't matter. I just swanned off. And I had also asked, I don't know if this actually, if you'll know what I mean, do you know what fire lighters are? If you ever have a real fire, with logs and stuff like that, they're kind of little squares of, they're basically solid petroleum. Anyway, yeah, they wouldn't let me...
But it's like a wax,
yes.
It's like a wax.
Yeah.
I know what it is. A pellet, like a starter pellet.
Yeah, so I thought if I brought that to the party and kind of put my foot on like a little collection of them, that I would look so like Joan of Arc that they would just adore me. Anyway, no, so that didn't work either, so that had to go as well. So we get to the hotel, and, it's said to come at 7 o'clock, and I have no idea, because I never go out. I live a quiet life, and also I'm Irish, and if we do go out, we are terribly late for everything. So they said 7 o'clock, so I said, okay, I'll ring the cab for 20 to 8. And so I was all gussied up. I'd got my hair blow dried. I was looking fantastic. I'd bought a new sword. I was really looking good. There's a photograph of me somewhere on the internet of me in my outfit. So I go down and I get into the cab, and the taxi driver is kind of looking back and thinking, name of God, what's wrong with her? And I said, take me to Tramp nightclub. This is where it was being held. It wasn't in some office, with 14 of us. And he goes, okay. And so we're driving along German Street, which is where it is. And kind of further up the road, there's all this kind of activity. There's cameras flashing, and there's lots of people moving around. And we pull up at the place, and the taxi driver says, "You're here." So I get out, and there's all these paparazzi, and they're photographing all these incredibly tall women, like they're easily 9 foot tall and like, I don't know, 30 pounds at the most. And none of them were dressed as anything other than themselves. So the paparazzi see the cab door opening, and I get out in my stupid boots with my stupid sword and my stupid head thing, and they are paralysed with astonishment. They have no idea what to make of me. It's like, what in the name of God is she? And they decide, whatever this is, none of us saw it. And they all swiveled back to the beautiful model girls. And so I was rattled. At this stage I was rattled. And I go in through the door, and the place is heaving. It is thronged with people. And I am the only one in the whole place that is... I forgot to say, I also had a shield. And so you had to go downstairs. So I was using my shield to kind of shove my way downstairs. And every person that passed me, like, you could have, like, powered the entire city of London with their astonishment. Like, it was just coming off them. Like, the energy from there they just couldn't. What in the name of God was this? And I got down to the bottom of the stairs, and along the way I lost my shield because I was so embarrassed. Then I very quietly put my sword on a little table. Then a man comes up to me with like a tray of champagne, and he offers it to me, and I don't drink because I'm in recovery. And I said, could I have a glass of water? And so between the outfit and the request for not alcohol, he was so astonished that he spilt his tray of drinks over me. So at that stage I thought, okay, the universe is giving me a message here. Leave the party. You are not meant to be here. This is not your place. So I fight my way back up the stairs, and I get outside, and I was so kind of distressed that I couldn't remember the name of the hotel I was staying in. So I got out my phone to ring my husband, and it was such a short time since I had left the hotel. He thought I was ringing to say what address was the nightclub. And I had to say, no, I've been in. I'm the only Joan. I am now covered with from astonishment champagne, and I need to come home, but I don't know where we live. And also the paparazzi had turned when they saw me coming back out the door, and they did that kind of nanosecond of no, this is too much for us, we don't know what, I cannot handle this, and turned back again. And then eventually I got a taxi. My husband told me the name of the hotel, and I was home about 20 minutes after I had left. So, and I still never got to the bottom of it. I don't know why nobody else came in fancy dress. Why it was just me. Anyway,
wait a minute, didn't you ask anybody?
No, I was too mortified. I just wanted to pretend that a couple of people had hallucinated me. That I was never there, that like it never happened. I had never done anything so ridiculous, and but anyway, the great thing about any disaster is just add a bit of time and it becomes funny. And that's what happened. So,
hey, that was funny to begin with, let me tell you. Well, there was no time involved. I was laughing at the start.
And like, I'm still alive. The shame didn't kill me. But yeah, it was an interesting process.
Isn't she funny? Don't you love the way she says process? That's the process. That's right. And then I use aluminium foil. Aluminium and the process. I love that accent. Cracks me up. Anyway, you guys, thanks for listening to Storyworthy today. MarianKeys.com. That's where you find everything Marian Keys. And of course, you can head over to StoryworthyPodcast.com to join the mailing list and just to see the other stuff going on in my world. Am I in this world alone? No. You guys are here, right? Yes. I'm not just fantasizing this whole career, am I? I'm like in a closet by myself in the dark, and I'm pretending that I have like this massive audience. But I do. I have an audience. I mean, you're there. I know you're listening. I hear you all the time. I know that you're reading the newsletters. I know that you're listening to the songs. I can identify you. Well, not really identify you, but I know where you're listening from, and I know how you're listening. How about that? Anyway, you guys, I'm losing it. Thank you again for tuning in. I sure appreciate it. And on behalf of the very talented Marian Keys, my name is Christine Blackburn saying, make it a story-worthy week.
Thanks for joining us on the Storyworthy Podcast. We'll be back next week with all new stories. Subscribe to Storyworthy on iTunes and visit the Storyworthy website at storyworthypodcast.com.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.